thing right now.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day. I'm alright.
About a third of the building has been blown away.
This is the bridge to white light.
Our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
And at that point, we were taken for another round of questioning, this time related to our allegedly being members of Mossad.
It's crazy evil.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the No Way Jose podcast. This is the Morning Dump. I am your host, Jose Galison. We have some things to go through today. It's a beautiful, Wednesday morning, August 20th. I've already got my workout in. No run yet, but I did. I had one of my pineapples was ready today. You can even see it right behind me. That little, you can see it's kind of adorable. I put it in a little Tupperware, kept the top to replant it later. About every year or so, I get usually a pineapple or two or three that'll pop up, and hey, there's breakfast. So it was a nice morning. I'm glad to be with you guys today. So continue the nice morning and carry it through to my evening. So I'm glad to be with you guys. See you in the chat, Tyler. I tried to get him to join us today, but he is doing his job like a respectable adult. He is in court, so being a lawyer. I said a respectable adult, and then I mentioned he's a lawyer. So I guess I threw that off. Although he is family law, so not so bad. But all right, guys, let's go through our perfunctory morning video as we do over here. If I can find it, 1 second. Here we go. I thought this would be a fun one to kind of start off with. Now, don't at all take this for foreshadowing for the rest of the episode. It's fairly it's very much parapolitical, not so much spooky, symbolic, occult stuff like this is, but I thought this was interesting. This is kind of something I do like to cover as well. But this is a tweet from, I guess, this is from some podcast. I cannot verify any of the validity of any of this, so take this as a grain of salt, but I found this interesting. But this is the tweet here. It says, holy shit, Eyes Wide Shut cameraman, so this is supposedly a cameraman, of Eyes Wide Shut told Professor Simon, so we're getting a lot of hearsay here, but either way, interesting, that the theatrical release of the film was nothing like the film he shot. He worked with Kubrick for 4 years, and none of that footage is in the final draft. This is one of the many insider stories that seem to confirm the original film EWS was originally about an elite pedo ring. The studio and Kubrick allegedly fought over the film after having seen an edit. Kubrick died before the film was released, and the studio re-edited it significantly before the premiere.
No, I'm scared of the people who believe it. I'm scared of the family with the red hoodie who live in a large house in Eyes Wide Shut.
I will say this crazy-looking motherfucker that supposedly the source does not help out here, but either way, it's interesting.
I also happen to know Stanley Kubrick's cameraman, and he said I used to work with him. He was a freelance cameraman. I worked a lot on very high-end stuff on drama at the BBC, and he got this job for 4 years with Stanley Kubrick. And we used to drink and in the bar. And when the film came out, I said, "Wow, it looks amazing. Your work is incredible." He said, "It's not in the film." I said, "How do you mean?" He said, "Well, I was in New York the entire time, and I shot for 4 years. None of it's in the film. All they put in the film was Nicole Kidman and what's his name, and the studio just cobbled together a bizarre, non-story stuff. That's not what the film was about," he said. So, and I've tried to speak to the original film editor I don't know who the original film editor was, but I've tried to speak through the Hollywood agent to the studio film editor, I'm a film editor to editor, to ask him what was the original film like, and what did you do with the studio? And I got into his agent basically told me to bugger off. I mean, he never got in touch with me, and I know who he is quite well. So I don't know. I think there's more to that film than meets the eye.
I agree. I said this wasn't foreshadowing. I guess it kind of is. I didn't intend it to be this way, but this does actually, in a weird way, connect into, I guess, damn near everything we're talking about today. Maybe some of the foreign policy stuff you could make the argument may not be connected, but even then, a lot of that is too. What was it? I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, I'm pretty sure Eyes Wide Shut was actually filmed in one of the Rothschild mansions, I believe. So, I mean, there's more to that. Obviously, I think Epstein himself was essentially a Rothschild agent. I forget the specific source on that, but he at the very least was a familiar with the Rothschilds. I'm pretty sure there is something that confirms he was in some way business ties. So let's be real, he was working with or for the Rothschilds at some point in time. So these things are all kind of interconnected, aren't they? But all right, let's say our good mornings. Let's roll through the chat, see what it do. Good morning, Andrew Jacobs. Says, I got to give that fag Tim Pool credit where credit's due. Seeing MTG on Timcast is what made me a fan of her. Yeah, she's been crushing lately, and that's why she's the leading story. And because she kind of perfectly leads into the next stories. She commented on the Alexandrovitch thing, so we'll just kind of segue from one to the other. There are more updates on that. Good morning, Mulgera. It says good morning and happy 90th birthday to the great Ron Paul. Ooh, if I had remembered it was today was it, I would have made the thumbnail Ron Paul, but whatever. Happy birthday, Ron Paul. Good morning, Doctori. Good morning, Tyler. I said it to you. Good morning, John Black. Good morning, Adrian Wody. Good morning. Good morning, No Hablo. Good morning. He says, my God, those teeth are British as fuck, says Doctori. Good morning, aggressively agreeing. Aggressively agreeing says that cloud has a British face. Dog looks like he's going to start thundering. Yeah, he kind of does. He does look like a comical cloud of some sort. But hey, I mean, I don't know. I don't think it even requires him to back. I feel like I've heard this elsewhere too, that there was a shitload of stuff left on the editing floor, up to the point where you could basically say it was an entirely different movie. So, but all right, let's get into the foreign policy of today. What's going on? The daily count, we're at 58 Palestinians in the past 24 hours. So obviously this is still far more than is acceptable. 0 is ideal. But it does seem weirdly, because we've been covering this for a long time. It was in the hundreds, damn near. It was 100 damn near every day. So this feels like a calm before the storm, which that very well may be the case, which we will kind of get into in later stories here. But yep, so 58 Palestinians, and then I think it was 3. What am I seeing? There was I was trying to see how many starvations, because I have a feeling the starvation may start picking up here soon. I swore there was a couple more. So either way, still trickling in. But as I said, calm before the storm. This is what I'm talking about. Israeli military to call up 60,000 reservists as it prepares for Gaza City ethnic cleansing campaign. It says about 60,000 Israeli reservists will receive call-up orders that the Israeli military will issue tomorrow as it's preparing for a major offensive in Gaza City, the Times of Israel reported on Tuesday. The report said that reservists will have 2 weeks before they need to report for duty, and that not all of them will take part in the offensive on Gaza City, since some will replace IDF troops deployed in other areas of Gaza. The Israeli military plans to take over Gaza City, involved in the ethnic cleansing of over 1 million Palestinian civilians from the area. Since civilians are expected to remain in the city after evacuation orders, the IDF is prepared to use artillery strikes as its means of forcibly moving them, according to Haaretz. So to repeat that, artillery strikes. Now keep in mind that I know it sounds ludicrous, but this is how this sliding scale moves. We've been seeing consistently for, what has it been, over a month probably, at least? I think there are around 2,000 aid deaths, I think. They were just a few short. But what was I going? Anyways, I know where I was going with that. I was threading that they were using warning shots and these things, so this has become like a normalized thing to the point to where you have like I think even Huckabee was like justifying at one point, being like, "Oh, what do you want him to do? You want him to just sit down and have a tea party, or whatever the hell the stupid thing he said was?" It was so like this is kind of the this retarded idea of they're like, well, it's war, so we do warning shots at innocent civilians. Like, what? No, those are bullets. And these are artillery strikes that they're talking about hitting buildings with, likely. And this is means of moving them. It's not a means of moving them. They're just leveling the area regardless of whether there are people in it or not. That's what they're going to be doing. While the IDF hasn't yet launched its ground offensive, it has ramped up its strikes on Gaza City in recent weeks with a focus on the eastern Zaytun neighborhood. Thousands of Palestinians have already fled the area. An investigation from Al Jazeera found that many of the Israeli attacks were hitting displacement shelters. Once the city is taken over, the IDF plans to spend more than a year destroying it. So I'm not kidding when I said they're literally planning on leveling it. They literally are already there. Their purported plans. They're admitting this is their plan on spending a year destroying Gaza City, which is, I believe, that's somewhere in the realm of I think it's around. I think there's I know there was supposed to be like a 1 million population, I think, in Gaza City, and I want to say Gaza entirely is supposed to be 2 million. So that's like half the people. And this is kind of also where a lot of people have kind of come for refuge. And between the starvation and all the other things, I think, we've been seeing a really, really, I know it really could go to another level. It's as unbelievable as that might be, is kind of what I'm getting at. Once cities, so similar to how it made the northern cities of Beit Hanun, Beit Lahia, and Jabalia uninhabitable, the IDF will demolish homes in Gaza City under the guise of dismantling Hamas infrastructure. See, that's you could nuke the entire land, the entire area, and you could say you were dismantling Hamas infrastructure. But Netanyahu has previously told Knesset in committee that the IDF's destruction of homes would force Palestinians to leave Gaza altogether. The idea of the Gaza City offensive is to force all the Palestinians to the south, and from there, Israel will pressure them to leave Gaza, but remains unclear where they could go. Israel has reportedly been in talks with several countries on taking in a large number of Palestinian refugees, but so far, none have publicly committed to the idea. But we have a story on that, and it's ridiculous where they're proposing them to go. And also, don't forget, I haven't seen this being thrown around by officials, but I think there were even talks of plans at one point, so I don't know where they're at with this, but they're forcing these people to the south. So while I am pointing out, hey, they're going to Gaza City and they're about to have this big offensive that's probably could likely take this to another gruesome level. Well, on top of that, not only that, think about the action reaction, what's the next thing that happens? Well, what happens after that? These people come down to the south, and what have they been talking about in the past? The concentration camps. And so now you take all these probably already disheveled, fucked up people and put them in concentration camps. And I know that could get really, sure, theoretically, I guess maybe there could be some other country that they end up to and it doesn't, but we're talking crazy final solution type stuff, like in real time, in the modern 21st century. It is just pretty crazy. Wild shit. Then more on kind of this idea of the soldiers. I guess you could kind of maybe see this as a positive. This isn't from anti-war. You can usually safely assume most of this stuff is something sourced from anti-war. I found this from Zero Hedge. This was actually just recently posted, so it was kind of early this morning. But anyways, Israel considers military recruitment inside USA as soldier shortage persists. It says amid an enduring soldier shortage, because in the last piece, what we just said, it was 60,000, I think they're trying to call a reservist, where Israel's not, the size of New Jersey? 60,000 people is a lot of people. And there have already been lots of stories that we've been kind of trickling out here and there about how there's been lots of the military talks of we're done with this, because you got to think that it's their military system over there is everyone is reservist, essentially, is every able-bodied man, woman. I'm sure you get exemptions at a certain age or something, but yeah, it's everybody. So so this is the population being called upon to serve. Now, to be fair, I don't think, now when I say that, I don't know exactly how it's structured. It's probably, if I had to guess, something along the lines of they're required to serve a certain amount of commitment to the IDF or maybe other options. And then after that, they don't have to stick around. So to be fair, it's like I'm not saying that every person, every citizen of Israel is actively in the military, even in like a reservist sense, because they're technically all these people are reservists, but I don't know exactly how it works. I'm just saying that this is a nation in which there's compulsory military service, and I don't mean in a draft. Like these people are required to give military service as a condition as being citizens in that area, so I know I think that contributes to it. All right. Amid an enduring soldier shortage and all-out occupation of Gaza looms, IDF are considering a campaign to recruit soldiers from Jewish populations living in the U.S. and other countries around the world. According to Israeli Army Radio, a state new media outlet, Israel may mount an effort to recruit 600 to 700 Jews a year from diaspora, a term referring to Jews living somewhere other than Israel. At first, Israel will concentrate its effort in the U.S. and France, the countries with the two largest French populations at roughly 6 million and 450,000 respectively. Man, I'm telling you, think about the things I just laid out just a moment ago, and if this is genuinely the game plan, I mean this in like a serious thing. Things are gonna get real anti-Semitic real fast, and it just is because now you're literally talking about we're going to recruit these things that we call Jews in this effort for this snuffing out in other people. And I'm not at all making the case, but I'm just saying if you're trying not to make that case, if your claim is, oh no, anti-Semitism, and well, you can't attribute, to the whole what a part does or something. Essentially, the idea no, they're essentially no, we're hive mind, and that's the claim they're kind of making. And no, we're actively trying to pull Jews from other places, which they kind of already are to begin with, I guess. But just I'm saying in this more overt way, that just doesn't seem to be. I don't know. So far as PR, I can't. This is really bad. But anyways, there might be a positive to this in a sense, and that I do think this might signal an unsustainable, since they're unable to sustain this military campaign. Which this is like I was getting at before with the complaints was before. I've kind of been on the hopes and prayers essentially that the military, the people there will just have enough, or they just will not have the political will to make it happen. So. I don't know. Either way, they're bleeding dry there, and I just don't know. It's always an equation of just when does that run up. But now they're talking about just trying to really just keep squeezing water out of the stone, and I guess they're going to try to squeeze what bit of Jews they can from elsewhere. But, I'd hope they're not too successful, because, I don't know, that could be weird. As of February, there were 3,500 diaspora soldiers serving the IDF, with nearly 900 of them Americans. Israel calls such troops lone soldiers. Majority of American lone soldiers are coming after high school, either directly after high school or after a gap year program, said Noya Govrin, director of the Lone Soldiers Program at Nefesh B'Nefesh, a nonprofit that encourages Americans and Canadians to make aliyah, and that is to move to Israel and become citizens. The past 2 years, there's been a notable increase in college graduates that come to Israel to serve as lone soldiers, she told Times of Israel. Earlier this month, one of those American lone soldiers who'd recently returned from service in Gaza was the target of an overnight arson attack on vehicles parked at his family's house in suburban St. Louis, Missouri. Graffiti painted on the street accused him of being a murderer and proclaimed death to the IDF. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I actually haven't read. So just so you know, I don't normally read this stuff beforehand. I like it to be more of kind of a reaction. You kind of get my raw thoughts. But yeah, that's I was called it. Which at the same time, hey, fuck this guy. So I don't know, if you're going over to the IDF to go serve in the military at this point in time, it is kind of fuck you. Just in the same way, I'm not gonna lie. I think as I've said many times on the show, I don't think it was proper for me to be in the looking back now. I don't think it was correct. I thought I was doing the right thing at the time, but I don't think it was right being in the military. I can make my arguments for that. But what you learn, and then I moved up. But I know this is another level. It'd be one thing if I was in the military while we were actively carrying out a genocide, and I don't know, especially in a situation like this where it's I don't know. It just is. It's another level. It's a whole other level, and it's also not even your country. So you're going to another country to do this. So I don't know. It's ridiculous. But anyways. This is an awkward moment for some of my fellow Jews in diaspora, wrote Raphael Shamunov, New Yorker host of the Jewish Left radio show, cheerleading Israelis sending their kids to genocide, but will never send their own. The IDF is coping with a 10,000 to 12,000 soldier shortfall. Okay, so we're some of that 60,000. So this is what they're a shortfall of 10 to 12. There are two principal drivers: draft dodging by ultra-Orthodox Israelis, which that is interesting they mentioned that, because that's one thing we've talked about in the past. There's been these kind of these concerns they might actually lose their political coalition, which I don't know. Once again, essentially, I guess the way the Knesset works is they're able to create coalitions to have essentially like a strangle of the political process. And so it is a very big deal for these certain coalitions to maintain themselves. And so they've been having a lot of these issues with the ultra-Orthodox who have like strong beliefs about specific things about the military service, essentially. And so there's issues with that. So there you go, draft dodging. Like they don't want to give. They've been very much freaking out about not giving these groups exemptions to the point of risking losing their political dominance over and over again. So they've been kind of riding a tight line here. And a lower retention of current soldiers who are leaving the IDF at an elevated rate as the war in Gaza nears its second anniversary. Some are voluntarily leaving via extreme means. At least 16 soldiers have killed themselves in 2025. And 54 since October 7th. More than 3,700 have been diagnosed with PTSD. There are some 14,600 deserters, according to the Jerusalem Post, which appears to apply that term to draft dodgers. The IDF is about to close the window on a sort of amnesty plan, which gives draft dodgers until Thursday to sign up for service by phone or online, and then be rapidly ushered to the IDF's ranks in the couple weeks. If they do, they'll be spared criminal charges and penalties that include a prohibition on foreign travel. Okay, so all right, they're getting ready to crack down on legal things because they're having lots of draft dodgers. The issue of ultra-Orthodox military conscription has threatened to topple Netanyahu's government, as parties representing that community have demanded legislation that would grant them an exemption from military service. June 2024, Israel's Supreme Court ruled that the government must start drafting the Haredi, who'd previously enjoyed an exemption ever since Israel's creation in 1948. Haredi men typically dedicate their entire lives to religious study in seminaries called yeshivas and receive public welfare. Okay, this sounds like a fucking scam. With Israel waging a multi-front war and encompassing Gaza, the West Banks, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, and Iran, the exemption has become increasingly unpopular with the other segments of Israeli society that must heed the call. As public opinion among both American Jews and non-Jews goes increasingly negative toward Israel's war in Gaza and the Zionist state in general, it remains to be seen how a fruitful recruitment campaign inside America would be. Priming the pump for IDF recruiters, Israel catering members of the U.S. Congress have controversially introduced a bill that would extend credit and employment privileges enjoyed by U.S. military service members to American citizens serving in the IDF, with no such privilege for service in any other foreign army. Which I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, I don't even think you're actually technically, allowed to, or you're not supposed to be able to serve in another military while you're a citizen of the United States, is my recollection. I feel like I heard that somewhere. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Israel gets this weird carve out where like it's not technically allowed, but no one prosecutes. It's just one of those things no one cares. So yeah, all right, that's that. All right, let's get into the next one. This is what I was telling you about the idea of where they're going to put these Palestinians. This is from Middle East Eye. This was sourced over from Anti-War, as most of the ones are, though. It's exclusive, powerful Libyan official in talks with Israel to resettle Palestinians from Gaza. So I'm not going to read the whole piece there. The headline kind of says it all, really. I think we may have talked about that. We've definitely talked, at least here and there on this show, about the different places they've kind of talked about sending them to. Pretty much the going trend has been, here's this one place, and then usually relatively kind of shitty places, and then there'll be rumors of the Israeli officials or U.S. officials talking to these people about these things, and then there will be news stories come out, and then they'll get immediate backlash from the population or whatever, and then it's like, no, we didn't do anything. So I don't know what's going on particularly behind the scenes, and but apparently, I think there's literally talking about releasing billions or millions of dollars that I think are being held by Libya here. So essentially, they're kind of all these different bribes, which are going to come from the U.S. particularly. So yeah, we're already essentially bribing all these different places to find somewhere to put the Palestinians. We're actively helping Israel with their ethnic cleansing, essentially. which I mean, I don't know, to a proactive degree, to like this degree, to where we're finding places to put their victims. I guess you could try to spin it and go, well, I guess they're just being nice because otherwise they might kill them. Like you could always stop paying them. Anyways, but it's Libya, which Libya's just crushing it these days, right? So, what a great place to send a downtrodden people over to Libya. It's doing great. $30 billion in frozen assets. This actually says in the sub-headline there. I didn't even look at that. So $30 billion in frozen assets they begin. Now, I say they don't frozen assets, so I guess it's not so much I guess it's kind of a bribe, but at least you can justify it, like, if it's frozen assets, and theoretically it's Libya's assets. So then here you go. Here's your own shit back for some reason. We thought it was justified to hold your shit. I don't know the particulars. So unfreezing assets, that's actually just letting someone get their own stuff. It's you stopping stealing from them. So I guess it's not as bad in that sense, but still the idea that we're going to send all the Palestinians to Libya is pretty fucking ludicrous. So, but yeah, I think I'm not going to even bother reading through. Actually, here you go. Ibrahim Dabiba, a relative of Prime Minister, has held talks with. Okay, so it's only semi-official now, so we'll wait to see if more comes out on this. Because I don't know, it's just nuts. All right, here is. Oops, didn't mean to show you guys my DMs. Here is Trump on the latest. I want to show you guys this clip. I thought you'd get a kick out of it. Here's him talking about kind of where he is on the whole Ukraine thing and the peace deal that's they're sort of fishing at right now.
Just want to end it. I want to end it. We're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Some people, as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India, Pakistan. They were going at it. The planes were being shot down. That was going to be maybe a nuclear war if I let that go. And I did that through trade.
All right, yeah, I want to try to get heaven if possible. I hear I'm not doing too well. I hear I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. That sure is true. I don't know. If you end a war but you fuck kids, I don't know. Do you still go to heaven? I don't know how the arithmetic works here. I don't know. I guess it depends on which sky god you pray to. So I don't know. I struggle to believe this guy ends up in heaven. I also, as this next story kind of shows, I don't know. I think I will say I guess I feel more hopeful with this comparatively to other things, and I still say I feel cautiously optimistic about where the vibes I guess I'm getting from whatever is going on here. But we still at the same time we have these essentially poison pills being inserted into these deals, much like we dealt with Iran. We've also saw with a lot with the back and forth between Hamas and Israel. Yet again, here we have another such situation with Trump and the European forces and Ukraine, and essentially the idea of a potential security guarantee. So, but here Trump's saying he's willing to support European troops in Ukraine by air as part of the potential security guarantee. Now, they're being pretty vague on this story. So here's actually what he says specifically. I'll read his quote. He says, when it comes to security, they're willing to put people on the ground, Trump told Fox News, referring to European countries. We're willing to help them with things, especially probably if you talk about by air, because no one has the kind of stuff we have. Really, they don't. He also assured that U.S. troops wouldn't be deployed to Ukraine. He says a day earlier he wouldn't rule out the idea of putting American boots on the ground in Ukraine. So I think yesterday we actually covered that he even made some statement about how he wouldn't rule it out. So, I mean, also to some degree, I guess it displays the flippancy of like what he says in here. So the idea of supporting, by air as part of a potential security guarantee. Now, I don't know. Now, I've heard thrown out when people say potential security guarantee, or especially I think yesterday we may have covered this. There was even the Article 5, I think, was even a quote in there, Article 5 obviously referring to essentially the guarantees of like war guarantees. Now, they didn't explicitly say that, though, so it kind of leaves it up to interpretation. So you may be able to interpret it as like some alternative things that you could still construe as being a security guarantee. Like I've heard ideas being thrown around like a multilateral something or other, to where like any member can veto, or you need a unanimous consent or something. The idea that being like you don't just get to have, I'm under attack for any reason whatsoever, and now you guys are obligated to defend us. And no, don't get me wrong, I don't like any sort of these like to war guarantees, but I mean, I know obviously this would be preferable. I don't. If we had some weird gay fucking highly specific fucking agreement about like the condition under which we would do something for Ukraine, and that's how it ended this, sure, maybe I'd be willing to make that concession. Now, if the time came when we actually had to own up to it, I may be willing to be like, I don't care, we should just lie. But like, I don't really feel like that'd be an issue, generally speaking. So, I mean, especially if you get ultra specific. But point being, I don't know what's going on here. It really could be this is the poison pill, and they do literally mean something akin to like essentially them being in NATO, which is the whole thing. Which is, so like they're trying to be like, okay, we won't be in NATO, but we'll give them everything but being in NATO. So NATO, like in everything but name. So yeah, I don't know what to make of it. We'll see where this goes. I mean, just going by vibes, it feels good. This also could be, like I said, this could be them floating it out as a way to save face for the Russia hawks, because this is something that everyone went fucking hard as fuck on forever. So it does make sense you would want some sort of saving face of some sort. So if you had some sort of vague security guarantee that really meant nothing, that was almost a completely borderline unenforceable, like really not applicable for any situation, sure, whatever. See ya. The war is over. Goodbye. You don't get our money anymore. Whatever the agreement needs to be, as long as it's not an actual literal like war and guarantee. But the point being is this is reminiscent of other deals we've had lately where they have inserted poison pills. But at the same time, it wouldn't look any different if it was, we're doing this to save face. So I don't know. We'll see. Time will tell. All right. Here's another one we got the 3 U.S. Navy destroyers and 4,000 troops are being deployed to Venezuela, or near Venezuela. So to be clear, sorry, I didn't mean they're literally going to it. So the U.S. is deploying 3 Navy destroyers off the coast of Venezuela in a move aimed at pressuring President Nicolas Maduro, signaling what appears to be another push for regime change. One U.S. official told Reuters that a total of 4,000 U.S. sailors and Marines are expected to be committed to the Trump administration's efforts in southern Caribbean region. U.S. officials say the deployment is an effort to combat threats from Latin American drug cartels, as the U.S. has made the unsubstantiated claim Maduro is the leader of a cartel. The accusation goes back to the first Trump administration, when then Attorney General Bill Barr indicted the Venezuelan leader over claims of narco-terrorism. The claim was made over alleged cocaine trafficking, even though data showed at the time that the vast majority of cocaine coming to the U.S. went through Eastern Pacific rather than Venezuela's Caribbean waters. So this is very clearly like this whole MAGA, we're going to stop the fentanyl, our southern borders. This has very quickly been manipulated into, war with Venezuela. That's what this has been manipulated to. So, ta-da, fell for it again. And a bow. That's where you're at now. So, if anything, almost kind of impressive. I mean, we talked about this recently, this story, and I've actually kind of called this. I forget what the previous story was. They were floating this out. This was I think it was when they labeled him a whatever. They labeled him because we recently had a story where they offered $5 million or $50 million or whatever it was for information leading to his arrest or whatever. So yeah. And I think I even called it in like, oh, wow, that's weird. This could totally be used as justification. Here we are. Transparent as a day. So, yeah, wild stuff. And I'm sure this has absolutely nothing to do with it. Stuff like this. Venezuela's Maduro blames international Zionism for unrest after disputed vote. They've been trying to get this guy out of office for fucking ever, it seems like. Because I think he was also one of the recent, like they said, they were just getting at the election shenanigans, and he even was calling out it was Zionists fucking with his shit. It's goddamn Zionists fucking with my shit. All right, guys, let's roll the chat. It's been a minute since I checked in with y'all, and then we'll get into our MTG story. Let's check in with y'all. All right. Let me see. No good morning for me. Nevsky, you showed up after the good mornings. You showed up after the good morning, Nevsky. We'll redo it. Some people came in late. It's okay. So Mulgaris is bad that 58 is just a low number. The fact that I'm saying shit like that's it is really sad. Yeah, that is too. I'm like seeing like, wait, what? Why is there only 60 dead in Gaza? What's going on here? Obviously don't want more. Good morning, Tower Gang and a PC. Baktori 420 says, this reminds me of what the Mongols did to cities that wouldn't give up. Wonder if they're going to build the towers of skulls when they are done. Yeah. Good morning, Noname. Good morning. Yeah, Doctori's also was bringing up we were talking about the Palestinians, about sending them to South Sudan. Yeah, that was one that got thrown out, was the South Sudan. That was one of the ones that made there's a few different African countries made the list. Marnamak says, I assume a lot of kids are molested and raped in Israel since all the pedos go there. Yeah, Alexandrovitch claimed in the documents he travels to the United States 1 to 3 times a year, and we let him go. How much you want to bet he probably comes back to the United States at some point? I wouldn't be surprised. Who knows? Maybe he'll just stay in Israel and never come back. But I wouldn't even be surprised if he's able to, find ways to come back to the United States. Who knows? He probably is able to get on private jets. So it's not even like he'd get stopped in an airport or something. So, yeah. He probably is going to come to Israel in a few months and try to fuck some kids all over again. So, you aggressively agreeing Israel needs to check out the U.S.'s sex crime list for recruitment. Yeah, Alexandrovitch, straight to the front. You know what? Like, I'd almost... actually, never mind. I take that back. I almost said I'd almost before that, because in my head I was thinking of, like, front lines. And I was like, wait, there are no fucking front lines. The front lines are just where fucking, I don't know, the IDF is just murdering innocents. So there's no, like... I mean, yeah, I think we were talking about this the other day. I don't even remember. It's like I had to struggle to recall any sort of things of actual hostilities against the IDF. I think, wasn't there like a story like a month or two ago or something of some being attacked or something. But yeah, so it's not even like you could be like, hell yeah, take your pedos and bring in the front lines. Sure, if they were actively engaged in, like, say it was like Russia Ukraine type stuff, and like, whatever, have your pedos. Like, okay, cool. I'd feel a lot better when I saw those fucked up, like, videos of, like, those drones chasing after those poor Ukrainians or Russians, and, like, if I knew that it was like, oh, that's Israel, and it's, oh, no, that's just their, that's all the child molesters who got sent back over from the U.S. I'd be like, whatever, this is awesome now. I'd totally get where everyone was coming at, all the disturbing comments of all the, whether you're the Ukrainians or Russians, depending on the side. Oh, hell yeah, fuck them. You're like, whoa, dude. I would totally get it if it was just Israeli pedos. Totally get it. Mulgara says, I think Israel's given up on the PR war. They don't give a shit. I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it really is just kind of they're trying to grab what they can while they can, I think. It might be what it is. Good morning, King David. Good morning. Dr. says, from what I hear, people are against the war fleeing. Yeah, we're just covering that. It seems that way. Hit that like button, says King David. I agree. Please do. Good morning, Eddie Grimm. Good morning. No Hablo says, didn't we get Gaddafi killed for human rights violations? Isn't Netanyahu way worse? Yeah, good point. Didn't even think about that. Yeah, it was over some vague, I don't even remember what the claims were that he supposedly did. So, yep, that's irony. Libya's about to experience a revenue boost in the slave trade market. Yeah, exactly. That's where they were doing the open slave trade in there, and now we're going to send them a whole bunch of downtrodden people. I don't know. Sounds like a pretty good little cattle for slave traders. So, Nevsky says Yeshiva teaches the Talmud, so all of the anti-Zionist religious Jews are Talmudists and hate the Goyim even more than the Zionists do. It says protecting child traffickers won't get you to heaven, says Adrian Brody. I doubt it. Will Palestinian markets really bring that much at slaves bring that much at market? They're going to be all slave. That's a good point. All right. Good morning, Evan. Good morning. Glad to see you here. Any of you still end up with Mulgara's asking if any of us still end up with Misfit Patriot in our timeline? I don't follow dude, but I keep seeing his gay ass. I see him occasionally. I try not to gauge. He's just rage bait. Like today, I saw before the show, and I was like, there was a split moment. It was like because I was collecting all my different tabs for today, and there's a split moment. It was like, I had that one to list because fuck him, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. It was some stupid tweet about like, did you know that there was also a pastor that was arrested in the group with Alexandrovitch, and this totally proves that like they're all conspiring with the Vatican to fuck kids, right? Yeah. And you're like, what? You're like, the difference here is that, like, he doesn't literally work for the Vatican. Like, if you told me that, and he didn't also, like, this pastor that you're talking about, he's currently sitting in jail waiting for his court date. If he was sitting in Vatican City and he was employee of the Pope, I'd be just as concerned. I'd be like, what? What is this? How is this acceptable? I'm sorry, I'm not okay with I don't know, citizens of the Vatican City treating the United States like a pedophile vacation. I'm sorry, not okay. Nevsky, he's bringing up the 100% of foreign workers in Israel. It was foreign, I think it was Thai. So it was very specific, to be fair. But it was 100% of the 654 foreign workers in Israel. So it wasn't all of the workers in Israel. It was that specific Thai group or whatever. Which even then still, that's insane. 654 out of 654, 100% people reporting rape. Yeah, we covered that yesterday. Wild. Oh, yeah, BB's doing another podcast. Yeah, I forgot about that. What's his name? I can't even think of his name. He's such a... What is his name? Konstantin Kisin. Yeah, that guy. He's on his show. Was it Trigonometry? Which is, God, what a fucking gay name for a podcast. But yeah, they're having them on, and so I don't. We'll probably have some interesting clips here soon. Although I don't know. Maybe not. If anything, I'd almost wish that he'd gone on another thing like the Nelk Boys or something stupid like that, because there'd be a lot more like shit to like for fun to mine out of it. Whereas, let's be real, I don't know, Kissen is probably going to run cover for him and give him some like sort of what can be perceived as hard hitting questions. So I don't feel like it'd be a lot as much fun to clip mine as like something like whereas like something like a podcast with like Netanyahu and like the Nelk Boys, I feel like you'd actually be more likely to drop some accidentally say something stupid. Or that the Nelk Boy, like say not even necessarily Nelk Boy, but somebody of that caliber, that type of show says something stupid that then like kind of puts them in a weird spot. Whereas like I don't know, this is more of a controlled environment. Like you're getting softballs is what you're getting right now, and you're getting your normal talking point softballs is what you're probably getting. Just kind of we're going here, just the usual. Okay, this is what I train for every day. Like it's easy shit. What else we got here? Marco Rubio. Good morning, Jake Moore. Pushed Trump hard last time he was president to invade Venezuela. Yep. Now he's head of state, and MAGA tried to rebrand him as non-interventionist. He's pushing invasion right now, 100%. Non-interventionist, but now he's got a big, I'm a big drug warrior. Yeah, Constantine, yes. All right, let's get into the MTG. Let's see what the Queen is up to. She's been crushing it lately. I just figured I'd just bring up her page. There's a couple tweets particularly I want to show you. But here is... we can even maybe watch this clip. Whatever. If you guys are interested, I'm not going to watch this clip here, but I guess she did just do a show with Megyn Kelly. So I guess it's on DC, the Israel lobby. So this was yesterday that this dropped. But... Before all that stuff, she dropped some damn good tweets. For one, she did put out a good tweet about abolishing property taxes for some reason. And then also shitting on the health insurance and that essentially that like needs to be entirely scrapped, which I tend to agree. But that's not the one that I'm really wanted to bring up. This is it right here. 2 recent decisions made by the State Department both involve children. We need to be the America that allows war-torn children to come here for life-saving surgeries, and the America that never releases a foreign child sex predator that our great law enforcement officers caught. But in this circumstance, those war-torn children are from Gaza, and this foreign child sex predator is from Israel and works directly for Netanyahu. Let me guess, would it be anti-Semitic to drag Netanyahu's cyber executive director back and produce this POS to the full extent, or prosecute this POS to the full extent of the law, at the same time let Palestinian kids who had their limbs and bodies blown apart receive surgeries in America? I'm not saying bring in refugees or use taxpayer dollars, not at all. But when did America's heart grow so cold to refuse innocent children privately funded surgeries and then they return home after they recover? Wouldn't we allow Israeli children, if they were the ones needing surgery, or war-torn children from any other country? And the most concerning country is when and how did America become so subservient to Israel that we immediately release a child sex predator after arrest with a 100% locked up case with evidence and let him off to fly back home to Israel? Will we do that with a Mexican child sex predator, Chinese child sex predator, any other country's child sex predator? I know God does not discriminate in his love for children. Why would we? And this is her quote tweeting that post we read yesterday, which was the official statement from the State Department. That was very, to be fair, I guess they wouldn't characterize it one way or the other, but it was very much just kind of stating the facts of what was going on and how he didn't claim diplomatic immunity and how he's released and blah, blah, blah. And that any claims the U.S. government intervened are false in that one, which, okay, sure. So either way, we got Marjorie Taylor Greene out here just slam dunking on this one. So, I mean, bringing the heat for it. So, hey, I'm glad she's bringing her name in it, another Congress member on this one, because this needs to be stayed on for sure. And that's what we're going to do right now. So this is to continue on to kind of go into the Alexandrovitch thing, because that's clearly, like, those are the two things MTG was talking about there. Well, one of the two things, the other being the shit with Loomer, where she got these kids to not be able to receive those treatments, and shutting off the visas. Obviously, the connection between these two stories is they're both they're both travel essentially. One was prevented from being able to travel. Well, one was enabled. One was viciously attacked and in need of help, and asking, essentially having things completely provided for them, nothing being asked for the host nation, and the other one being being a literal child sex predator. So it's, who would have thought between the two options how these things would have unfolded. But let's continue on with the Alexandrovitch storyline. What's going on here? Now, there's obviously going to be people who come out and they got to be the skeptics, the naysayers, let's apply a little nuance, which, to be fair, I guess I do that a little bit myself. But, man, sometimes it just gets to a little bit ridiculous territory, and that's where Michael Tracy has taken it. I guess he wrote a piece on this, and Mel, the village crazy lady, is making fun of it here, so we're gonna follow her. I'm not even gonna bother taking the time to read all of Tracy's. I've honestly kind of grown tired of whatever this shtick is. I may have read like maybe one of these pieces. I've watched a couple shows he's gone on, and it's all just incredibly semantic bullshit, and it really strikes me as, what are you running? Like, it's like top level Jewry, and like in the sense of, like, the legal, like, I don't know, what was playing with words, like just being overly specific, like he was the one that we covered once on the show not too long ago, where he was making a big deal of specifying the difference between a pederast and a pedophile, and you're like, dude, what? Like, what? So here we are. Once again, Michael Tracy, I guess, of course. Michael Tracy strikes again. He's doing this with the Alexandrovitch thing. So here's Mel, village crazy lady. She goes, "My God, Michael Tracy's write-up on the Israeli pedo is so much better than I could have imagined." Says the app's rules say you must be 18. The app even has a vigorous age verification process to ensure no minors gain access. Then she says, spoiler alert, no, it doesn't. I know because I created a profile on it yesterday to see that age verification clause only applies to jurisdictions with age verification laws in place. Nevada has no such laws. She goes, this report didn't have any discovery. Because why is this FBI's child exploitation task force helping to conduct stings on men trying to exploit children? What a waste of taxpayer dollars. She's putting that in quotes. Man, all right. Well, I guess we will read probably maybe part of this. I don't know if this is all of it, but we'll read it in the order she presented it. So this is from excerpts from Michael Tracy's piece. So we're kind of starting in the middle, perhaps. So what exactly is Tom Alexandrovitch accused of doing? According to the arrest report, God damn it, this stupid. Give me a second, this stupid computer. He'd been staying at the Conrad Hotel a few miles from the conference venue. Over the course of his stay, it is alleged that he used an app called Pure, evidently some sort of hookup app. If you go and look at the terms of service for this app, it says over and over again that no minors are allowed and users must be at least 18 years old. I actually think I might go look up what the fuck this Pure app is right now. I'm kind of hesitant to do it because I'm going to I'm going to end up like some weird creepy shit on my computer. Yeah, I literally pulled it up right here. You guys see on Google. I go to Google, type in Pure app, and it goes pure.app, date, play, misbehave. A dating app. It says the best dating app for open-minded people. That's creepy. I mean, to be fair, I'm 34. I'm married. I have two teenage daughters. Well, one's going to be teenage somewhat soonish. One's going to be teenage next month. But so like I have two. So these are like I don't. But this doesn't. But that is. I don't know. That's weird. It's weird. I don't like. I don't know. Something about that seems off-putting. But yeah, right when I got married was when the dating. Tinder wasn't even a thing yet. So that's just so you have an idea of like where my head's at. So I don't really know what this Pure thing is. But just judging by the overview here, I have a mind to click on it. Let's click on it. Let's see where this brings us. Okay, this is the picture when you open to it. That looks fucking evil, whatever this is right now. It's this weird, for the people listening, it's this weird upside-down demon-looking thing, like something I feel like you would see in like a bad trip. It says date, play, misbehave, it says sign up. That's all the details I was hoping maybe we could extract some sort of other information, but just looking at the landing page is creepy. So I don't know. This is all I can get for without go. This is about as comfortable as I feel going with this. Anyways, I wouldn't want to sign up for this or anything. I guess Mel already did. But I don't know if any of you guys have ever used this or you know anyone who has. Let me know. But that's something about that. Even just that image right there. That's creepy. That is super creepy. Like it's even blinking. It's like an upside down demon looking thing. Date, play, misbehave. I don't. That's okay. I really do want more information on this Pure thing. But anyways, maybe there's something there. Let's go back to this. It's allegedly used the app called Pure, evidently some sort of hookup app. If you go and look at the terms of service of the app, it says over and over again that no minors are allowed and users must be at least 18 years old. Here's an excerpt of your eligibility terms. You have to say 18 in there. It says anyone who's not attained the age of at least 18 years old is expressly prohibited from using the app. So then it says guidelines, once again going into the 18 thing. So here's more. There's even what appears to be a rigorous age verification process to ensure that no minor gains access to the app. Government-issued documents must be submitted to ensure that only persons at least 18 years old are allowed on the app. And then he provides a thing about age verification, to which Mel already responded in the initial tweet we read, where she goes, "No, that's only depending on the state." I'm assuming I'm a little bit creeped out by this. The fact that it has age verification, that makes me feel like there's probably porn or something on this app, or some sort of. It's essentially probably. It sounds like to me like pretty fairly overt sex app of some sort. So yeah, like that's what they were looking for. So. Anyway, I forgot where I was going with that. Anyways, my point I was getting at is the idea that in certain states that implies like a porn thing, because it's that's the laws they've been passing lately in certain states where now like porn things like you need like you need to do like ID verification of some sort, which is like creepy for quote on porn, I get, but at the same time there is an argument I guess to be said about kids getting in there, but that's what this is. And then you're like, well, why is that on that? A little bit creepy. I thought that was probably only for pornographic things, but makes me think that's probably on that app. Says, nevertheless, some highly successful law enforcement agents decided to dispatch an online covert employee, an OCE, to join the Pure app and allegedly pose as a 15-year-old juvenile. This would have presumably violated the app's terms of services if the OCE had openly identified their age as 15. Were forged government documents used to circumvent the age verification procedure, or the app operators collaborate with police? It's not clarified one way or another. And here's more. It says, the report says Alexandrovitch was found to have engaged in conversation with the undercover decoy, and this conversation turned sexual in nature. It is not specified who initiated the conversation. It is not specified why the conversation turning sexual in nature would be an unexpected or unforeseen development, seeing as the conversation took place on a nominally adults-only sexual hookup app. Nowhere in the report is it alleged the decoy ever specifically communicated to Alexandrovitch that she was supposedly 15 years old. Nowhere is it clarified what the actual age of this presumably female decoy was. In past things, decoy juveniles have tended to be young adults. In an interview with a Homeland Security investigator and FBI special agent, Alexandrovitch reportedly stated that he agreed to go to dinner and a show with a date, and he believed that the girl was 18 years old. Which, yeah, that's what he said when he was being interviewed by the police. So, like, they also have probably transcripts of all things he said online and stuff. And If I recall correctly from documents, I don't feel like going back through that. They said over and over and over and over again that he, in the back and forth, was aware that he was like it's. I'm pretty sure they said something along the lines of he confirmed. I mean, they were summaries, so I guess you are to some extent taking their word for it. But yeah, sorry, I guess I'm a little bit more trusting of one party here. So no evidence is cited to show that the girl's listed age was 15 years old, and no explanation is given for how would be. Anyways, blah, 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 how would they get in the app? More spinning around that point. Then Alexandrovitch then flew back to Israel. He's required back in court in Nevada on August 27th. Is it possible that the Israeli consulate provided assistance to Alexandrovitch? Sure, it is possible. However, possibly more significant is that there was no child sex crime victim. The alleged luring of a child took place on adults-only hookup app, and no evidence is cited that Alexandrovitch was ever even told the juvenile decoy was purportedly 15 years old. Yeah, I guess they didn't provide any evidence. I guess if you don't consider either summary thing evidence, which is fair. I understand not seeing that as evidence. I'd be like, I'd want to see the exact transcript. But we were lucky to even get this so far, so it just seems bizarre to... I don't know, to have this. Anyway, if you want to be outraged by something, might suggest being outraged at taxpayer resources are being squandered on this garbage. And now I will admit, because people do bring up the parallels between something like this and like Sting, kind of like the Michigan stuff, or even like the OKC or stuff like that. And like I don't know, there might be arguments for this or that, but it's like I struggle to feel bad, and the idea that like taxpayer resources. I don't know, maybe there's an argument for taxpayer resources in the sense that like probably you're spending way more than is necessary for these things, but I mean, what a weird hill. What an odd hill to die on. I mean, yeah, there are probably interesting questions to be had about the ethics or the procedure when it comes to doing Sting and the idea that there technically isn't actually a victim. But I just feel like this is in a very odd time to do that. Kind of like I guess very much like the idea of like we really need to talk about the difference between pederast and pedophile. Like, no, I don't think we do. So, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like, sure, maybe there are some specifics of the criminal justice system when it concerns these pedophile stings, but you know what? We'll save that to last. Who fucking cares? Like, it's like the idea that we're like, the taxpayer resource being squandered is garbage. Dude, I'm a fucking anarcho-capitalist, and I'm fucking laughing at you. This is a fucking joke. Like, okay, sure. Like, okay, sure. Like, yes, I agree. Like, in a true free world, like, it's like I'd prefer it if me and my anarcho-capitalist gangs can get our Alex Rosen hierarchy can fucking just break off on our pedophile murder squads sponsored by your local fucking insurance fucking agency or whatever. But like, it's so fucking stupid. Like what it I don't know. I really don't even know how to express what a fucking stupid take that is. Like. Or you would be outraged by child pedophile stings, like what? Okay, all right, that's enough making fun of him. All right, here's another on actually that we're not done. And then Mel says one element of the crime he's charged with is that he must believe the victim he's communicating with was under the age of 16. Now, is it possible that the government didn't do that? Of course, but considering the likely career-ending ramifications for everyone involved in the case, if they effed up that bad, I'm going to go with presuming that they have record of him being told the girl was 15, if for no other reason than self-preservation on the part of the LEO. Also, Tom was arrested on the 7th, but news didn't break until his 15th. Highly doubt his name would have been released a week later if they weren't solid in their case. So, I mean, once again, to be fair, yeah, sure, there's an outside case, but even then, like that still would be. Even let's say this guy's innocent, is a complete fuck up of everything on their part. They still, despite all of that, there's still like this guy was under suspicion for all of this, and just kind of I don't know, unless something comes out about the process here to where his name was somehow cleared through this, but we haven't got anything like that. So yeah, all right, more. This one I should have covered yesterday, but somehow this slipped under the radar. Now, this is more on the Sean King and kind of the idea of all of his stuff getting deleted. Well, apparently, Israel admitted it. Here is I quote tweeted this morning, and actually took an excerpt from Sean King's little thing that he did. But I guess he asked Grok itself, so it says he says yes, based on this is what Grok says. Yes, based on verified reports, X voluntarily deleted the tweets under doxing policies. The tweets in question, for those who may not know what I'm getting at here, I probably should have stated it explicitly, but we're talking about Alexandrovitch here. Yesterday we talked about how Sean King apparently got all of his tweets deleted about the Alexandrovitch thing. When he was one of the initial sources saying that essentially the feds helped him out, and all of his shit got deleted overnight. Well, now Grok is admitting that it was Israel that did it. So anyways, and this is under doxing policies, is a claim, despite the fact that I don't think I look through all the specific. Maybe not everything, but most things. We went through the documents, some of the documents together yesterday, and I don't think there was anything in there that I think constitutes doxing. If anything, they were redacting weird shit in some of those documents. So I'm like, why did you redact that? You didn't need to redact that. That makes no sense. But and then it further goes on and says it was likely prompted by Israel's cyber unit where Alexandrovitch worked. This lacks a public U.S. legal mandate, effectively limiting scrutiny and indirectly protecting the accused from public exposure. Now, I guess it is actually, I thought this was insane. I mean, it is insane, but I thought like the idea of this even being how do I say this? The idea of things being pulled and tweets being pulled down for governments. It sounds like crazy, but it apparently is, and I guess depending on what it is, whatever. Anyways, but I guess it is part of practice for them for governments to have actually a system to request things being removed. But I guess there's supposed to be a system. They're able to, I don't know the specifics of it, provide reasons why, how this breaks whatever law, because X goes out to every country, and so I guess they are expected to follow the rules of certain countries if they're still expected to be in said countries. So it's a little bit of a tangled web they weave, but I think they're actually supposed to show, So point being is, even then, so some other country requested from them, but let's be real, what there was no law broken, there was no real doxing, but this is the vague claim they made. So yeah, Twitter now admits Israel demanded they remove my tweets from Sean King. I don't know why this surprised me so much. Do you know of any verified cases where tweets were removed from a user in the U.S. by the request of a foreign government? Now, there probably were other ones like I was getting at, but this is still insane, especially given the context at hand. So, yeah. Oh, is this oh, never mind. I thought it said North Star. I thought that was I thought that was somebody else. But yeah, this is Sean King's. So for those wanting to check out the full story, he's got it over here on his page over at the North Star. So, and I will say I'm a little bit concerned. It says, because this is sourced from Grok, the idea that says this is based on verified reports. Now I'm wondering what verified reports? I haven't seen anything other than what Grok said. So actually, let's try it out. Say Grok. Let's try it out. Let's have some fun with Grok real quick. Let me see. What do we see? What were we asking it? What are the verified reports? Verified reports. Claiming or substance. What's the word I'm looking for? Corroborating. Rating that Israel removed Sean. Corroborating that a government Israel. Let's put Israel. That Israel requested. The verified reports corroborate that Israel requested the Sean King's Alexandrovitch tweets were deleted. Because that I find it weird that it's like, because I mean we're in this weird world of like where it's, well, Grok said, and you're like, well, what do you mean? What verified reports? Okay, well, it's saying otherwise right here, so I'm confused. Actually, let's see. Then let's do this. There you go. I just copied and pasted for sir. All right, then explain. I'll say then explain this because it's trying to tell me no, that's not the case. Okay, so there's no verified reports from credible primary sources that definitively corroborate the claim that Israel directly requested deletion. Primary source is for Sean King himself, and that his lawyers were informed his tweets were removed following a government demand, which he later specified was from Israel, and that X complied. Additionally, a post on the North Star attributed Kling claims that X admitted to deleting the tweets at Israel's request, citing doxing policies, and suggests the request likely came from Israel's cyber unit where Alexandrovitch worked. However, no independent verified evidence from official Israeli government statements, X's official communications, or reputable third-party investigations has been found to confirm these claims. King's assertions rely on his own statements and alleged response from X to a user, which lacks corroboration from primary sources. Further, King's history of controversial claims, including accusations of exaggerating his role in other events, raises questions about the reliability of his account without additional evidence. Skepticism is warranted due to the absence of official documentation of statements from either X or the Israeli government. Claims of this nature can be politically charged and require robust evidence to substantiate. Without such evidence, the claim remains unverified and should be treated as inconclusive. And I asked to explain it because I was an idiot. I didn't read the whole thing. So it actually did explain there. So yeah, it sounds to me that there aren't these, when it said based on verified reports. So let me see. All right. Anyways, so it says it was wrong there. I don't know where. So I guess it's literally saying I was wrong. So if you go ask Grok, it's like basically like no. So I'll put why did you say verified reports before? Maybe it has an answer. I don't really understand. I mean, maybe it'll just admit like, oops, that was my bad. Unless it's saying, because the verified reports is a weird thing. So unless you're verifying that it is a report, like you have to play weird word games with this to for that to make sense. It says, I use verified reports in my initial response to reflect the standard of evidence need to require confirm a claim that like the one you asked about, specifically reports from this is some weird gobbledygook stuff. As I use the phrase verified reports in my initial response to reflect the standard of evidence need to confirm a claim. Okay, and let's try this over. I think I need to try a new thread real quick. I think I fucked it up. Let's try. Okay, let's try this. I'll say this is from a statement you made. Here's the tweet before. This is from a statement you made. Because this actually kind of is like, what the fuck to me. I'm like, I know this seems like I'm wasting time for the show. But this is weird. Let's say this is from a statement you made. What did you mean? / what did you mean? / what were the supposed verified reports? Let's try this. I misspelled it, but whatever. Because this is really weird. Like, what the fuck is this? Let me try. It says, I never made that statement. The quote you provided seems to come from a source discussing Tom Artyom Alexandrovitch. I think I broke its fucking brain. I actually don't think there's any... I think Sean King's totally wrong here. And using Grok as his sole source here is pretty fucking stupid because I can't find anything on these supposed verified reports. So I think we can actually back up and go, what the fuck is going on here with Grok, personally? Like, this is, I don't know. I'm actually going to, let's pop back in the chat. I kind of want to see if any of you guys have thoughts on this because this is weird. This is weird to me. And then I have other stuff we got to go through, but sorry if I wasted time here. But yeah, that's weird. Let's check through, see if anybody's got anything to say. Good morning, Bug Fights. Good to see you here. She says, why am I attracted to MGG? She is weird looking. So yeah, let's see what else you guys say. Doctori says, that seems like a pedo app. It does seem like a pedo app. That's why I didn't even really want to like click on the link or search it. So yeah. Good morning, Sosa Ribeiro. Good to see you here. It's just first I've seen you today. Nevsky says, I think all dating apps require the user to be 18. It could be mistaken, though. Probably. The name alone implies children, though, says Nevsky. Yeah, it does. Like, I actually thought at first when I heard Pure, that sounded to me like it would be like a Christian dating website or something. But then the fact that it's like, it's called Pure, and then it also then emphasizes, I hesitate to look at it again. Let me see. What was it? See, Pure app. Yeah, what was that again? It was an emphasize misbehaving while then also calling itself Pure, which, like, those elements, that symbolism there, that does... I get what you mean. That heavily implies something else. So, why you lying, Grok, says Northside. Yeah, Grok has been compromised, says Nevsky. I think I believe Sean King over Grok now. Yeah, Grok is a G, says Marnamat. Good morning, Shayuon. I don't know. I mean, it's someone I actually want... Yeah, this is weird. It really is weird. I can't find any verified reports, and we're at the point where people are... It really is just these. Now we're at this point where big stories are getting to the point where they're just the sole source being Grok said. All right, well, I guess let's move on. I don't really know what to do with that. I feel like we stumbled into something of interest here. I kind of almost want to like keep trying to like question Grok to be like, because I really struggle to believe like this yes based on verified reports, like that right there, based on verified reports. Okay, well, maybe they're saying X voluntarily deleted the tweets under doxing policies. But even then, I tried to get to be like, what did you mean? It didn't seem to specify that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I was trying to get at, like, what specifically are you talking about? So, like, what is the claim? Because it is kind of a weird claim. Like, yes, verified based on verified reports. X voluntarily deleted the tweets under doxing policies. And it says likely. So I guess you could say that, like, the claim is that X voluntarily deleted. And it's based on verified reports. So but what's the verified reports? That's the thing is I haven't even seen that like X verified they deleted it. So this literally could still just be, so to be fair, I guess the claim here at hand is and followed by a likely blah, 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 blah. The claim is X voluntarily deleted the tweets. And then, but I'm not even able to get them to answer me in a straightforward way. What did you mean by based on verified reports? What verified reports? The verified reports seem to be Grok saying this. So I don't know. Maybe I'm being retarded and being overly semantic. I don't know. All right, whatever. Let's move on to the next story. I feel like I'm belaboring the point at this point. Here is more on Shata, who says, "Hey Grok, who appointed Sigal Shata?" This is a Trump employee. We don't even need to look at it. That's kind of the point here. But apparently, I guess about a month ago when she was put up for an appointee, apparently there was more than 100 judges saying that she was unfit at the time. Here's an excerpt from a powerful show of support for the rule of law. 116 former judges signed a letter to Chief U.S. District Judge Andrew Gordon of Nevada and his district court colleagues. The letter urges them to resist former President Trump's attempt to bypass constitutional checks and appoint Sigal Shata as U.S. Attorney for the District of Nevada. Shata is known for incendiary rhetoric and erratic record of urging weaponization of law enforcement political ends. So yeah, there's all sorts of stories like this going around, but this broad. I don't think we covered this yesterday. I found this shortly after. I think we had covered how her Twitter account was deleted. No, I'm not sure if this is the exact same one because a lot of times these public officials, they'll have like their official account and their private account. So I don't really know if this is it says official account here. Is the one I'm looking at, but there was the one that she had deleted. So I'm not sure between the two which is which. But either way, I thought this is a Ryan Grimm from Breaking Points, which I really like this guy. He's I don't know. I like the cut of his jib, or whatever. What are the expressions here? But he cooked her here. Here is her statement. This is I want to say we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I don't think we covered her tweet because I think when we talked about it yesterday, I was in the impression that she. So actually, never mind. Someone here says your personal account. She did delete her personal account. So Chris Menahan, who was actually the article I think we read yesterday or the day before, he's chiming in saying why delete the personal account. So what we're looking at right now is her official account, and this is all she's said I think so far on the matter. Is this? Let me see. Actually, she said more than that, I guess. No, never mind. There was August 15th. She did post about the. About 8 being arrested in a sting. So I'm guessing it's that one. And then after that, this is the tweet that we were making fun of here. It says a liberal district attorney and state court judge in Nevada failed to require an alleged child molester surrender his passport. And now, to be fair, I think I meant to say this and I got distracted by myself. Now, this broad is the one who passed on the Virginia. So she is the attorney, the district attorney of Nevada, and she passed on the ability to prosecute the Alexandrovitch and put into essentially shirked that off to the local DA, which I don't know if Tyler, if you're in the chat, you're a lawyer, you or any other lawyers, let me know if that's. But it seems to be that would make sense to me that the state DA would be the one more likely to take an international child trafficking case than the local DA would be. Just makes sense to me. But this is what she has to say after shirking this off. So this is what she has to say. She goes, a liberal district attorney and state court judge in Nevada failed to require an alleged child molester to surrender his passport, which allowed him to flee our country. The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, just called me outraged, and she also called Cash. The individual who fled our country should have had his passport seized by state authorities. He must be returned immediately to face justice. Bitch, you are the state authorities. It's literally the case here. So it's funny that it's a liberal district attorney. So this is a frame game. It's we're going to frame this in a way that's appealing for me. When you're like, lady, you passed on this. This is on you. Is minors. And once again, I'm open to hear other explanations. Maybe there's lawyers in the chat. But yeah, we got it was just Ryan just cooked her here. We're all trying to find the guy who let this happen. Is what they say, which just killed her. All right, and then on the ongoing what's going on with this guy, we got celebrity Las Vegas attorneys David Chesnoff and Richard Schoenfield have made a filing in the case of Israeli official Tom Alexandrovitch. Chesnoff maintains close ties to Israel and volunteered there in 2023 after October 7th. And then, by the way, this is from Sagar and Jetty. And here's a list of the celebrities he's represented. So this is who they've gotten to represent him. This guy's represented Paris Hilton, represented Mike Tyson, Andre Agassi, Shaquille O'Neal, David Copperfield, Suge Knight, Bruno Mars, Joe Francis, Vince Neil, Floyd Mayweather Jr., P. Diddy, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Robert De Niro. So, yeah, spooked out. Or at least high profile, one could say. Maybe spooked out's being a little too unfair. And now here we go. More from Sagar. Las Vegas Review Journal confirms that the Israeli official Tom Alexandrovitch, caught up in a child sexting, has hired celeb attorneys David Chesnoff and Richard Schoenfield. Chesnoff was appointed by Trump to the Homeland Security Advisory Committee. So we got that going for him as well. Just all clicked up big time. Then we got right below him, too. We actually have, here you go. Here's, I guess, expanding on the David Copperfield element in there. Here's Kalani Pin, who we cover his stuff a lot. He says, Chesnoff repped Epstein client and pervy illusionist David Copperfield after he was accused of rape in 2007. The FBI raided his Museum of Magic. His other clients have included FBI informant and possible Biggie Small / Tupac hit contractor Suge Knight, various Hells Angels, Robert Durst, Michael Jackson's family, etc. So, yeah. Something to be concerned about. And something to be concerned about. Well, actually, let's go with the chat. It's been a minute. Let's roll with the chat, and then we'll move on to the next text topic. And, yeah, let's see what you guys got to say. All right. The verified ports have also been deleted, says Tony Chin. Yeah. Martin Max says, every post I see on X without fails a comment of someone asking Grok if it's true or what it means. Something along the line of asking Grok to verify everything. And if I remember correctly, too, I think they won't provide you links either, which makes it more annoying. So it'd be one thing if, Grok would do it, and then you'd be like I was just trying to do it, hey, what are these verified reports? Provide me the source. Give me hyperlinks, something, whatever it is you can do. But yeah, no, they don't. They don't do that. I swear they're not able to do that. I tried to do that before for something, I think, and I was like, why? It just didn't make any sense to me. I think it was even for X stuff, because it was I've tried to use it to help me to find stories that I remember. And I'm like, oh, I'll just go on Twitter and I was like, hey, well, Grok, if I'm struggling to figure out what keywords, let's ask Grok, hey, find me this thing, and they're able to tell me information about it, but I don't think they're actually able to provide you links. I mean, that might have been multiple Groks ago because they've done multiple updates, so maybe that's changed. But to kind of go to the idea of reliability of info, it kind of, I guess it disincentivizes you to go look it up yourself. Because at least if that Grok was able to be like, oh yeah, and here's our source, like almost as if they like source themselves. Like it'd be ridiculous to expect them to do it for everything. But if you're asking them for the source, it's like, I don't understand, think it's unbelievable. It's unreasonable for Grok to be, I don't know, to get them to provide the source as well. Because otherwise, I think what people do is they just naturally go, oh, well, Grok said, and then they just don't bother to verify it. So, I don't know. All right, let's get into this. This is the French connection. I want to dig into this. I caught this recently. Apparently, this is for a great follow if you're really into Dutroux affair type stuff, or Gladio, like actual, like the Gladio, like the years of lead and these sort of things. This is very much what he covers. He's really great follow. IRC NIC at IRC_NIC. That's also his. I believe that's a Substack as well. I forget if the underscore is in there for the Substack or not. But either way, here he is. He's saying Belgian investigators have officially asked French investigators to help out on the Brabant killer's case regarding the French lead. And then on the French lead, so I figured we'd take a time. This would be our time to look into the French lead of what we're talking about. Now, what other Brabant killers? This is an extension of essentially Gladio, like I was talking about. This happened in Belgium. We've talked about this, I think, quite a bit in me and Austin, in a lot of our talks about the Dutroux affair, because they kind of tie in. They're around the roughly the same time, and let's be real, it's the same fucking network. They're still doing. They're still looking into stuff over there, over in Belgium. And that's why this guy is a great follow, because he can actually read the language, and so he's able to keep up to date with what's going on here. All right. But here's what he's referring to. He's a Brabant killer's request for judicial assistance sent to France. And then the French lead. What is this French lead? This is, he goes right here. It says it's official. New inquiries have been assigned to the Brabant killer's case. It's reopened for now. It's not based on that license plate number, but rather the French lead. 2 French gangsters who were possibly part of the Brabant gang. Because this is all thanks to Jean-Pierre Adam, a retired cop, and Patrick Romail, lawyer of some of the civil parties. Adam has written 2 books trying to gather evidence, was rejected by the investigating judge until today in Mons, a court of appeals decision. He says, I'm skeptical about this. Okay, actually, let's read some of these sub-threads without actually, because it's looking a little bit confusing. Let's go to the specific. All right, so this is what I think is the claim. So let's go back to what it says. Lawyer of the victims of Brabant killers is trying to reopen the case. So 2 brothers wrote down their license plate of the Golf possibly used in the Alost attack in 1985. Now, once again, let's use Grok. As after I just talked shit about it, let's look up Grok. What is the Alost attack in 1985? Here we go. Let's see what it has to say here, because I'm not sure. I mean, I don't remember all the specific little nodes of all the different things that are happening in this. It says the Alost attack, also known as the Alost attack, refers to a violent robbery that took place on November 9th, 1985 at Delhaize supermarket in Alost, Belgium. Okay, so it was just one of the other Brabant killings. It's one of the numerous Brabant killings, was just one of them, just making sure there wasn't something specific. It says it was the final and deadliest of a series of attacks attributed to the Brabant killers, a criminal group responsible for a string of brutal supermarket robberies in the Brabant region of Belgium between 1982 and 1985. 3 armed men arrived at the supermarket's parking lot in a vehicle. Obviously, this is the details. I'm assuming this is compiled from official sources. Also, keep in mind, we just disparaged Grok and its ability for reliable information, so keep that in mind. They immediately opened fire, killing 2 customers in their car, including a father and his young daughter. One attacker stayed in the parking lot as lookout, while the other 2 entered the store, shooting at customers and staff. The attackers killed several people, some of whom were already injured in a manner described as execution style. The attack resulted in 8 deaths and several injuries, with a relatively small amount of money stolen, less than 20,000 euros. It says for the perpetrators here, it says that attackers were described as 3 men dressed in military-style clothing, armed with riot guns and a submachine gun. Their identities remain unknown, and the case is still unsolved. And then this attack was part of a series of 28 killings over 3 years, targeting supermarkets and other businesses. The Brabant killers' motives are unclear, with theories ranging from organized crime and extortion to political destabilization linked to extremist groups. So that's the quick and dirty of what they're talking about here. This is the connection that we're talking about. It says 2 kids from the area apparently had a notebook in which they wrote down license plates. 2 hours before a loss, they saw a Mercedes and a Golf with the occupants of the cars wearing dark clothing, looking menacing. They wrote down their plates. Now, car plates are very often changed by the Brabant killers, but one used this close to the actual attack could be a good lead. The kids and their dad brought the license plates to the police, but nothing was ever done with them. The Golf was registered under a company name in Brussels, but that's about all that was ever found. Christian Vandenbusch, the lawyer who's pushing for all this to be investigated, says the kids, now grown up, should be interrogated and a lead chased down to the bottom. Says the Dutroux case was solved when a person memorized half the license plates of his van. Here they have full license plates, they said. Okay, and then here's an article that obviously I can't read because it's in a different language. So there were kids in the area, apparently wrote down license plates. That's what the crux here. Okay, where's the French? Okay, here we go. Now we get more into the French connection. So there's okay. Anyways, so where this comes into play, I guess he talks about this and talking about another documentary. So here's a new documentary about the Brabant killers aired last night on French TV. This is back in March. He said you have yet to watch it because it's not available in Belgium. Oh shit! I guess this guy's literally in Belgium. So it coincides with the release of Jean-Pierre Adams' new book, Les Tueurs de Brabant, les honneurs de la justice belge. That was fun to say. Anyway, I don't know what the fuck that means. I got dishonor in there. But anyways, so some author talking about, what is he talking about? The Brabant killers. So it sounds like perhaps maybe a lot of this was brought back up again by kind of rebubbled up by some sort of, being brought up in the I'm struggling with words, by an author, whatever, but in a book. So anyways, he says, I've yet to talk about Adam's theory in here besides brief mentions. He focuses on 2 French gangsters he believes could have been part of the Brabant squad, Xavier and Thierry Sleeman. There's a bunch of evidence/coincidences pointing to their involvement, according to him. Adam is a former police officer who was involved in the Dutroux investigation. Weird coincidence, the Slyman brothers were the gunmen hired to kill Michel Pirot, one of the 30 dead witnesses. He was about to host a caritative dinner for the missing girls, promising reveals. He says, I'm going to order the book this week. He says, completely honest, I haven't talked about it yet because it's not the strongest claim about the case, and it would only involve some of the earlier attacks, not the whole thing. And then here we go more. He says, I'm skeptical of this theory. The evidence provided will only give names on some of the members of the gang in the first wave. What's interesting is that it does loop back to Dutroux, which was the case Adam was originally investigating. So then he goes, even if it was established that Xavier and Thierry Sleeman were part of the gang, we still wouldn't know how it all fits with the mountains of evidence accumulated in this case for the past 40 years. But it's a great start, and anything that can reopen the case, I'm all about it. Have to be careful, though. This isn't the first time something like that has happened in the Brabant case. In the past years covering the case in here, there were a few times where it felt like it was gathering up for some sort of reveal only to completely fall through. I'm thinking about the rest of Robert Bagier, those weapon searches, etc., which I think we covered that actually a while back. That was a really interesting dive. A surprise new lead is also a good way to coat the case neatly into a new story, completely discarding all the previous leads or effectively turning it into a limiting hangout. So I'm not giving my hopes up. Going to wait and see. So I don't know. We'll probably hear back from him some point in time. This was back in April where he was talking about this book. So I don't know. He's had a few months. I don't know how quick of a reader he is. I'm super slow. It takes me probably damn near fucking 4 months to read a 300-page book. So I don't know. We'll get back to us eventually. But yeah, that is the connection. Apparently they're looking into. They're trying to get what they can out of the French government to get help assisting with some thugs that some French people they thought were in the gang. So this might be something to work with, but just more to point to the idea that hey, this is still a thing going on. They're still working on it. People still care, just like I do. So, all right, let's roll through the chat. It's been a minute. Someone says Americans return home after serving with the IDF should be viewed with the same horror as ISIS fighters returning home to England. Yep. D-Trail. Good morning, D-Trail. Says, anyone else seen the promos for the new doc, The Yogurt Shop Murders? 4 teens all killed with small caliber shots to the side of the head. No. But that does sound like a program to kill thesis right there. Not a lot to go off, obviously, but the idea of small caliber, side of the head, it's kind of quick and dirty. Not quick and dirty, quick and clean, actually. So, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. So, nope. All right, let's get into the next story. Let's get into what's going on in Norway. This is my story I meant to cover for a couple days now. It's just in, so 2 days ago, Norway's crown prince's son charged with 32 counts, including 4 rapes. Now, I'm pretty sure we covered this a while ago. But I don't know if he maybe had already had some charges, or maybe they were doing investigation. I forget what the specific story was we covered. Obviously, it was along these lines, essentially. That I think it might have been like an investigation. It was kind of like, look at this royal, and like, holy shit. So here it is bubbling up again. So I don't know, maybe we'll get something else out of here. But yeah, here he is, Norway's crown prince's son, charged with 32 counts, including 4 rapes. And here we go. Weird timing. Someone says there. There's a tweet below it. It says, Norway's sovereign wealth fund sells its shares in 11 Israeli companies. But wait, there's more. Actually, I didn't. I thought I had saved. I swear they also just I swear they were one of. Let's go back to Grok. Actually, I'll go back to Grok. What major actions has Norway taken towards Palestinian recognition lately? Let's do that. Recognition lately. See if there's anything. I'm just curious, because that was something I meant to have another tab ready, but I swear I thought I had it. So here we go. There we go. Norway has taken significant steps towards recognizing Palestine in recent years, with notable actions in 2024 and 2025. In May of 2024, so they were actually ahead of the curve. So this was a year ago. Norway officially recognized Palestine as a sovereign state alongside Ireland and Spain. So, shit, they were one of the OGs. So this is actually clicking a little bit more for those who want to get a little bit more like a little more dubiously conspiratorial here. There might be some connections for other stuff going on, but they were way ahead of the curve. Maybe not way, but significantly ahead of the curve. Because I don't know if you guys remember, there was a lot of humbug about a year ago about everyone freaking about Ireland, particularly. I mean, maybe Spain got some shit too, but I remember Ireland particularly getting a lot of crap for a lot of the Israel stuff. They were very much, Ireland wasn't having it, but I guess maybe there was a silent war going on with Norway at the same time, perhaps. So. Then also, diplomatic relations formalized in April of 2025. Support for international legal actions. They've condemned Israel's actions in Gaza and the West Bank. So they've been pretty on this. Economic measures against Israeli investments. This was in this month. Norway's $2 trillion sovereign wealth fund, one of the largest, announced in August 2025 that was terminating contracts with external managers handling its Israeli investments and moving them in-house. The fund also divested in 11 Israeli companies due to concerns over Israel's actions in Gaza and the occupied West Bank. This move was seen as a significant economic signal of Norway's disapproval of Israel's policies. These actions reflect Norway's shift. Okay, I don't need to read that. But anyways, that's quite a bit of shit they're doing. And particularly this month, they did a lot on the financial side, which actually has been I feel like a pretty large focal point in the past year. For a lot of legislation and a lot of political figures and such, or governments, to essentially attack the idea of like, how do we prevent boycott? Because there were all sorts of, I swear they were talking about tariffs for people. I mean, there were all sorts of weird things. I forget all the specific legislations and stuff about what to do. I mean, hell, it's already illegal, I think, in the majority of the United States to boycott essentially anything from Israel. Intentionally. I mean, obviously, one of those things you gotta prove it. But like, say a corporate, like if that was like a corporate business's policy, they would a lot of states they would probably see some consequences as such. Well, they were also talking about essentially doing basically like a DEI type thing in that way with countries. And despite that, we have Norway saying get fucked. But I mean, obviously, we come back to this fucking weirdo. Did he rape some people? Perhaps he did. Now, this doesn't help that his mom's meeting with Jeffrey Epstein. So here's his mother, Crown Princess Mette Marit. This is Norway's Crown Princess Mette Marit regrets meeting with Jeffrey Epstein. She met with him several times between 2011 and 2013 after he was a convicted sex offender. So he's not. I don't think he's getting out of. He's not getting out of this one, or she's not getting out of this one. So two things can be true at once, though. Like, their elites could be doing awful, awful, awful things, And then also, like, they're also, I don't know, the politics at hand have caused them to, for whatever reason or another, behave. And now we see the consequences. So two things could be true at once. This may have happened as a result of the country's bucking off of Israel, but that doesn't mean it's not true either. So, I mean, to be very clear. So let's see. There's a tweet. I figured there'd be an article on this or something, but all right, geez. I swear I saw one before, but yeah, that's what's going on in there. Now, I don't know, maybe there'll be more on this to come later. Let me see, actually. I don't know. I'm going to look up for an article real quick because I thought there was one in the replies. Prince, let me see. I probably should be able to find an article real quick, I'm sure. Oh, geez. Sorry, I forgot you guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing. Someone just posted a thing of different royals. There's a crown princess of Norway. The son, here's the son. They're just showing him just doing drunk antics and stuff. Yeah, he does kind of look like a dude who may have raped some people. Though I don't know. I mean, to be fair, maybe he just liked partying. I don't know. Sorry. All right, I'm gonna stop looking for that. I feel dumb now. Sorry. But all right, guys. I think maybe what should we do? Should we do one more? Let's do this one. This is a weird one. Elon Dershowitz, film producer, dies at 64. You know what I just read? That was the caption this man's father provided for the article about his death. I know this is it's funny. Cassandra McDonald used to be Tim Pool's booker. Put out a thing the other day or whatever. And it was like, I've been looking at this tweet forever. I still can't get over how crazy this is. Because it's just like, I don't know. Maybe it's just a weird boomer thing, but what a weird, what a weird cold, Elon Dershowitz, film producer, dies at 64. Like, he had to type that. I mean, I guess maybe as an assistant or something, but still, what the fuck? Even if you had an assistant, you would think, hey, personalize it a little bit. Like, come on, spruce it up. Yeah, then I replied, what a touching eulogy. But yeah, so I kind of figured maybe it'd be perhaps interesting to kind of read this piece from the Jerusalem Post on Elon Dershowitz, who's the son of Alan Dershowitz, because I feel like perhaps we can at least get maybe a little window into the life of this circle. So, and he had an interesting career, and I can't help but notice his name was Elon, and I have brought up the point before multiple times how weird it is. Isn't Elon some part of some weird fucking prophecy bullshit? And there's all the different weird stuff there. And it's like, well, now think about the circles they swim in. Think about the circles Dershowitz swims in. And then he also has a son named Elon. One who's actually, I think probably, I don't think Elon Musk is older than 64. So this is the older one too. So the point being is that I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe this is too much pattern recognition going on, but where the fuck is Elon a popular name somewhere? Or is it kind of getting to my point about this, the idea of predictive prophecy and stuff like it? Because, keep in mind, there was this Elon that was supposed to go to Mars. So all you would have to do is if that was, let's say you had some conspiracy and I know it sounds fucking crazy, but hey, you just have a handful of people here and there name their kids Elon, I know it sounds ridiculous, but the fact this existed and then there's a guy named Elon now that's trying to go to Mars and some of the other weirdness. And then when you follow, Werner von Braun, I think, who made the charge, which, let's be real, if we're getting super conspiratorial, we're following the threads of Gladio, tracking it back to things like Paperclip, you're like, oh my God, what the fuck is... Yeah, you start being like, okay, maybe there is something, the fact that, is it really that crazy that it was some, hey guys, maybe a handful of you guys name your kids Elon. I don't know. Just weird. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting too schizophrenic, but I kind of want to take a moment to look through his life. Because I don't know, what can we get out of that? I didn't realize that Dershowitz had a son that was a film producer. So he died on Sunday after having a stroke. So he co-produced the 1990 film Reversal of Fortune, brought the project to the Pressman Film Company's employer in Hollywood. The film starred Jeremy Irons, who won an Oscar for Best Actor, and Glenn Close. It's been listed on several lists of best films of the past century. So then Dershowitz co-produced many other movies, including Fallen with Denzel, Wall Street, The Whole Truth, The Advocate's Devil, and Martians Go Home. So he was a producer, which I think if you're a producer, isn't that just the money guy? He also co-produced the ESPN TV shows Breakout the Bombers, or I guess producer can mean a lot of things. So he's also produced some ESPN shows. I'm not going to read all of those. Who cares? Because I don't really know any of those. He also is trying his hand at acting in The Girlfriend Experience. This time of his death, he was producing the Der Show podcast. Life and career. When he was a kid, he was an amateur magician who performed under the name Elon the Pretty Good to various audiences, including the Boston Celtics and Ted Kennedy and his Senate staff throughout the Boston area. Something about that's weird. Okay, all right, whatever. Maybe just really, okay. Many people also remember Dershowitz from his nightly performances in the popular bar area of the restaurant Legal Seafoods. He graduated from Hampshire College and then worked in the audiovisual department of the Harvard Business School before moving to Hollywood and then New York City. Dershowitz was also a foodie, enjoyed sharing his restaurant discoveries with friends and family. So too with films about which he was an expert. He was an avid sports fan, especially the NBA and WNBA. He loved stand-up comedy, even performed on occasion. He collected art, especially Edvard Munch lithographs, as well as magic posters and letters. He was known for his devotion to his family, a sense of humor and kindness. Okay, I thought maybe there'd be more in here, something interesting. I do think it's weird that this dude was a fucking magician. I mean, he had a pretty interesting life. I have a feeling that I wouldn't be surprised if some interesting Skizzle threads out there to follow up on this. But I did I don't know. I guess there was a little bit of comedy, a little bit of interest here. So yeah. All right, guys. I think maybe we're gonna go get out of here. Let me see if there's anything else I particularly want to go through. I think the other thing I'll save for tomorrow. All right, let's roll through the chat, see what you guys have to say, and we'll get on out of here. Norway. Nevsky says all 32 victims are Jewish. Obviously a joke. Norway based on black metal and based on Israel. Hell yeah. Israel is the honeypot. What are the other charges? That's a good question. Let's see. What are the charges of the Prince of Norway? The Prince of Norway. Let me see. Let's see what they are. Good question. Let me look it up real quick. It says there is no prince or whatever. Okay, never mind. Here we go. Marius Bog Hoby. He's a stepson of Crown Prince Haakon, who's the heir to the Norwegian throne. He's technically not a prince, so to be clear, I guess, because he's the son of a princess, and even then he's like the stepson, and she's a princess by marriage. So then he's anyways. He's got 4 counts of rape, one count involving sexual intercourse, and 3 counts without intercourse, allegedly occurring between 2018 and 2024. Some of these instances were reportedly filmed by Hoiby without consent. Domestic abuse against a former partner, acts of violence, including bodily harm against another individual, making death threats, traffic violations, harassment of police, violation of restraining orders, illegally filming women, including their genitals without their knowledge or consent. Hoiby denies the most serious accusations, including rape and domestic violence, but his lawyer has stated he plans to plead guilty to some lesser charges. If convicted of the most serious charges, he could face up to 10 years in prison. The trial is expected to begin in January 2026 and then last approximately 6 weeks. Norwegian Royal Palace has stated the case is a matter for the courts. Crown Prince Haakon emphasized the royal family will continue their duties despite the ongoing legal proceedings. So, yeah, he did a whole bunch of shit. Now, I think he probably did some stuff, to be honest. I mean, but everyone inevitably ties in Israel to it, which, you know what? Hey, whatever. That's what you get. It's you get what you deserve when you do this sorts of shit. All right, let's roll through the chat. Good morning, Q Bertamo. Good morning. Andrew Jacobs says, I think Dersh was/is in way too much shock to comment on his death right now. Perhaps, maybe, I don't know. Elon is Hebrew in origin, I believe. That would make sense. Elon, supreme leader of Mars from novel written by former Nazi. I could have swore it was Werner von Braun was the Nazi who wrote it, I think, Shy. So, yeah. Wild Boys is Tony Shin. All right, guys, let's get out of here. Love you all. Appreciate you joining me today. Let's go ahead and get out of here. If you like what I'm doing, leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, leave a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify. Those are all actions you can take to help boost the show. And if you really like what I'm doing and you want to help in the best way you really possibly can, then give me some money over at patreon.com/NoWayJose2020. The lowest level is $2. That's where you get access to the early episodes. That's and a number of other perks. I do about 1 to 2 episodes behind the paywall a week. Usually keep about 4 or so of those behind the paywall at any given time. You also get access to the ad-free RSS feed. You also get access to Telegram. You get access to the pre-show and priority for the call-ins for me and Austin's weekly live call-in show, Already Dead, which is on Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And also on the highest level is my sponsors. I read them off every episode. It's a big thank you to them. I have my former co-hosts on Tower Gang at Learn to Toad, also at Abrogate D's, at ZealVeryCK, at _Zeal, Tim Tuttle, at John Klebold, Will Bells, Delicious Blueberry Rabbi Wine, Big Fan of the Show, Torrin May, at Wayne Taculus, and Not Masad. And with that, here we go. So Soul Explorer Coaching, Grok was forcibly transitioned to an anime girlfriend 3 days after going full Mecha Hitler. I'm getting salutes in the chat. All right, guys, let me get our outro ready. If we got one, give me 1 second. I need to get more fluid at this. I should have had it ready to go. What do we got? Okay, let's see. This one's from Nevsky. Thanks for sharing this to us. But let's do a little outro here. Appreciate it. Damn it, it's doing the sound thing. So now I got to reset it back up. My bad. Here we go. All right, guys, enjoy these cute little puppies. I will see you guys tomorrow, I believe. By the way, I do want to warn you, I probably won't be here Friday. I got to go deliver a kitty on Friday. So tomorrow will be up essentially the Morning Dumps Friday. So we'll be here at 11 a.m. Eastern, guys. Who knows? Maybe we'll have a guest. Maybe we won't. But see you all tomorrow. Love you all. Bye-bye. Hit that like.